you've lost that loving feeling, no, not you specifically watching this, the song. What a wonderful song. My name is Crafty. This is the Crafty Music Tips YouTube channel, and this is yet another behind the sound video for Sing It Live, a wonderful project that I've been involved in for quite a long time, since the inception when Darren Mullan started it a couple of years ago. So this is yet another song where I'm just going to be delving into stuff that goes into what we do in order to be able to bring the song to life. It's alive! So this is going to be a bit of a different video. I'm going to nerd out a little bit, and I'll have a conversation or two along the way. If you're not familiar, this song was originally by the Righteous Brothers. It was written by Phil Spector, Barry Mann, and Cynthia Weil. I would assume that it was Barry Mann and Cynthia Weil that wrote the lion's share of it, and Phil Spector probably put one note or one lyric different, and because he was the producer, probably got a Guernsey on the songwriting credit there. But look, I could be wrong. Maybe he had quite a bit to do with it. But yeah, it was nearly a couple of months ago that we recorded this, and it was on the same day as the song Love Will Keep Us Together. And so we got the direction from Darren that this version of You Lost That Loving Feeling will actually be the Hall & Oates version in the key and some vocal stylings of the Long John Baldry version. And so it was really quite interesting for me as a guitarist, because the key of the song was not a super guitar friendly song. I got around that. I'll get into that a little bit more, but first, a word from one of our vocalists.
There's no welcome look in your eyes when I reach for you. Girl, you're starting to criticize every little thing I do.
Hello, Andy.
Hey, mate.
Fancy meeting you here.
Amazing.
This lovely aesthetic.
I just like hanging out in lobby lounges. It's a thing.
It is. Well, anyway, this week's song.
Yes.
Was it your decision or Darren?
I think it was a bit of both. We talked about that song, and I'm most respectful of the Righteous Brothers version, but having heard Long John Baldry and Kathy McDonald do it sort of in the very early 80s, I reckon, I was just a slip of a lad, but it smacked me between the eyes. Long John Baldry's voice, just this English blues cat with this voice that sounds like a piece of granite being dragged along on concrete. That's what his voice sounds like. And I just went, let's do that version. And so Mel was the girl to call, and she nails it. The female vocal part in that song is what shines in the song. Yeah, Kathy, the original version that she does is sensational. And
yeah, awesome.
We knew Mel was going to nail that. There was no competition. I just quietly did my bits and let her do her thing and listen to her.
That would have, I've already mentioned this to you before, but it would be funny to think of, you just get out the way and now it's my turn to sing. But I mean,
you've lost that. Yeah. It was a very relaxed session, wasn't it?
Mm.
Even Mel, some of those notes she hits are like, seriously?
Mm.
And I don't think we did any more than 2 takes, did we? It was all done and dusted, and bang. And Mel goes, yeah, I'm happy with that. And we're all like, oh, she's happy with that.
Yeah.
It was great.
Mm.
It was a great song. Great song.
What do you remember about the day, in addition to how many takes we did?
It's funny. She's probably going to get angry at me, but when we showed up, sort of, standing and talking, whatever else, Mel's going, I'm not going to have very many takes in me. This is a big sing. And it is. It's epic. Some of the notes she hits are crazy. She goes, I'm not going to be good for very many, so let's get this right. If we did any more than 3 takes, I swear, I just don't think we did. But after all of them, she's like, okay, yeah, that's cool. And I'm looking at her going, aren't you coughing blood yet? Good Lord. Yeah.
What is it like for you singing a duet, different to when it's just all eyes on you?
I don't mind. She's a lot better to look at than I am. Mel's great to work with. Everybody's great to work with. Yeah, there's a pretty relaxed vibe in the room. If you look at the boys that are playing on that day, everyone's just like, nah, that's cool. Damo's at the back on bass, just going, just say the word, brother. I like working with people that raise to the occasion. Mel embraces that type of song. Anything with drama or that tells a story in it, I think Mel shines in that. So I just stood back and watched her do her thing, did my little bits, and then just shut up and let her go. Watch her fly.
All right, so thanks for the chat there, Andy. It's always a pleasure, mate. Now, I'm just going to grab my guitar here. It's time to just nerd out a little bit. If you're someone that is more of a music appreciator rather than a music player, where you don't get too hands-on, you might find this next segment a little bit hard to follow, but have a listen for what it's worth. So basically the version that we did was in the key of A flat. Now, as a guitarist or a bass player, you might think flat. It's not super user-friendly. It doesn't really particularly bother me because, it's very important as somebody that's a full-time musician and somebody that teaches as well. It's important that I don't favor really any keys. But guitarists and bass players usually like to stick around the open notes. So, either E's or A's, maybe G's, because there's a bunch of open strings in there as well, and D. And what I actually ended up doing is I found it better for me to just be in an E flat tuning, and that meant that all of the chords would just be more accessible in an open format. And actually on the day I do recall that because I was in a different tuning to Damien on the bass, every so often, it would sort of put him out a little bit, like, because he's watching where my fingers are on the fretboard and he's thinking, oh, am I doing the wrong thing? Oh, wait, no, he's in another tuning. It's something that you do a lot, just especially when you're just getting the hang of a song. And a lot of the time when we are in the room of Sing It Live, we're flying by the seat of our pants with a song that we've never played before. And I'd never really played this one before. I had maybe gone through it once or twice, but it's not a song that I knew. I definitely had heard it, but I found that, okay, if I'm in E flat tuning, where instead of having to play an A flat chord, that I could just play an A. And so obviously that doesn't sound in the same key right now because I'm just in standard tuning right now. But yeah, so if we have a look at the chords, the first chord is an interesting one of the verse. It's kind of like an 11 chord. The way that I've written it out is a G flat over A flat. So it's a G flat chord in concert, but the bass note is an A flat. And so that's a really nice tension chord if you're da 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 da, and then there's that resolution there, the release of that tension. And that's quite common in a number of songs. One that comes to mind is On Broadway. Doesn't have that long tension and then release. It's kind of a little bit more back and forth. But one, coincidentally, that does do that tension and then release is this song. I've been waiting for so long. I should learn what those words are. But yeah, so that's coincidentally, I say it's one that we've done in Sing It Live, and Andy and Mel sang that as a duet. And yours truly was on guitar. And so I just realized, I just thought, wow, that's really interesting. And also coincidentally, Bill Medley, one of the Righteous Brothers, was the guy that sang that classic hit from Dirty Dancing, I've Had the Time of My Life. And something that fascinates me is the sound of that. It reeks of what's called the Mixolydian mode. So, for instance, the whole song isn't in A flat major. A lot of it's in Mixolydian. So Mixolydian is the flat seventh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Flat seventh, 8. You can hear that. It's got that. If it was in major, that would be really weird. How would you do that? That would be a... There we go. It would be a diminished. Yeah, so it doesn't have the same vibe. But sure enough, as we go into the pre-chorus, all of the chords are from the major, because you've got the second and then the third. Now, this chord doesn't exist in Mixolydian. And then we've got the 4 chord, and then the 5 chord, it's kind of meshed with the 4 chord, and another 11th chord. It's kind of a suspended sound. And then our chorus, 1, and then 2, and then 5, back to 1. So that's definitely in major. But then the second line, you've lost that love and feeling, da-da-da. That's back to the Mixolydian. It's a very clever written song. It's absolutely fantastic. The rundown is really quite good as well. That's a 5 minor right there, so it has to be Mixolydian. And then, of course, you've got this lick here. That's great. That is just going down the minor pentatonic scale, which happens in almost every song ever. And then you've got the middle section as well. That's almost Summer Lovin'. Just when you get to here, you've got the 4 and the second to add to the 1, 4, 5. It's almost twist and shout as well. Shake it up, baby, now. Shake it up, baby. So many songs from that era use the 1 and the 4 and the 5 of the key. And yeah, I really like that whole middle section, that bridge, where it doesn't do it exactly the same. It's interesting. It's going 1, 4, 5, and then 4, 2. And going 4, 2, you want to get back to the 1, to the root.
Baby, baby, I get right down on my knees for you.
If you love me like you used to do.
And yeah, so having the 2 versions to be able to try and commingle as best as possible was actually really fun. I feel like that it came together really well. What do you think? I really love Darren's mix. When we're in the room, it doesn't ever sound like this big polished thing. It sounds like a work in progress. And we always leave with the faith that Darren will come through with the goods, with the mix, and choosing the right camera angles, because, you know, he's the puppet master for us all for how we're presented. So what do you think? Do you reckon Darren did a good job? Let him know in the comments below. Give him a pat on the back virtually. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you found this interesting. Don't forget to subscribe to Sing It Live. And also there's a bunch of different Crafty Music Tips videos here on the Crafty Music Tips YouTube channel, in addition to the behind the sounds videos for a bunch of the songs that I've been involved in and more from the Sing It Live catalogue. So I'll leave you there. Just remember, with your music, you don't have to do every single thing right now. Just do the next thing. Hope that helps. We'll see you really soon. Take care.